Coach, we were just talking with Chelsea and Raquana about Taco Sunday, and considering how much you've talked about the importance of building relationships, how important are those types of events, and what kind of other maybe out of the box, out of the ordinary team bonding events have occurred so far, and how do you think they've gone?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're very important to, team and group success, that you can have some moments that allow you to see each other more as human beings than as teammates only. And, you know, eh, One of the positives I think of kind of living this campus lifestyle is that type of experience, right? Where instead of, the ladies being at home, with family and other responsibilities and things that typically pull teams apart during the season, they in some ways have no choice but to rely on hanging with each other, getting to know each other, spending time with one another. And so those things are important. It happened organically. I think it was Chelsea's call, to my understanding, to make it happen. But the team they've been communicating together very often. So we're not privileged enough to see what goes on in their group chat. So I'm sure they have some other stuff planned that we have no idea about.
John W. Davis, Winsider.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, John?
Doing well. I can ask you about something that you should know the plans for. Can you talk to me about if you plan on scrimmaging this week with any other teams? And if you do, what would you like to accomplish by doing that?
As of now, we may not, really get the opportunity to. We reached out to a few teams about possibly doing that tomorrow. And I think a couple of teams already had, teams they were scheduled to go against. And a few other teams are, they're supposed to get back to us. But, we may not get a chance to do that as a group. But I think we've been in a bit of an advantageous position in terms of having 11 and 12 players in training camp compared to a number of other teams that only have 9 players. A couple of teams have been down to 8 or 7 on a lot of days. So scrimmages are really their only way to get any 5-on-5 or even 4-on-4 type of activities. So we've been fortunate enough to get some of that in our own practices without having to play other teams. And, we'll see how it works. It's obviously not the perfect scenario, but we're better off with all of our players being available on Saturday than not. And I don't know how I would feel if Candace or Nneka or Chelsea, Bay, somebody went down, with an ankle sprain in a scrimmage that didn't really, mean that much and probably wouldn't move us that far ahead. Like, no matter what we try to do between now and Saturday, these ladies have not played basketball since last season. And some of them played overseas a little bit of Team USA. But it's going to take a while before we look like we know exactly what we're doing, which goes back to the tacos. It's because if you care about the person next to you, you won't watch them struggle, right? You'll be there for them. You'll still find a way to help them be successful. And we're going to have to rely on a lot of that until we get some conditioning and timing and rhythm.
Over to Leah Secondo.
Hi, Coach. If you could just kind of elaborate on that a little bit more on practice today and getting the rhythm and what you felt you accomplished today in practice, and give it a grade or however you want to size it up.
Yeah, no, grade-wise, it was, for me personally, it was probably just okay. I don't know. C is the best, it's right in the middle. The players were A, but as a coach, you don't want to kill your team sweat sometimes, if it's going good. And if you try to teach a little too much, or you try to, introduce a few things that kind of cools them off, especially for some of our veterans, that happens quick. So, so for myself, I feel like I could have tried to keep it going a little more in terms of activity with a few things we were working on. But it was important for us to introduce a few things, make sure we have some connection on, out of bounds situations, some of the things we want to do in the half court to start the season. And so, we wanted to introduce some of those things, and it was important to do. We'll get a chance to come back tomorrow and have a great practice in terms of, high intensity. And then we'll see where everybody is as far as what we do Thursday and in preparation for Friday in terms of being kind of shoot around, because our game is at 3 p.m. on Saturday.
Time for two more tonight. We'll go over to Delmy Barrios.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you. Shifting gears a little bit, big news coming out of LA this morning as pro women's soccer is returning to LA. As someone like yourself who's been a part of the sports culture here in LA, how do you think that this could potentially evolve that culture in the city, and how do you think that it could help elevate women's sports?
I was excited actually when that popped up. It was breaking news earlier today. Really excited that the ownership group, typically ownership groups are not that large in terms of the number of people that they have listed as part of the group. But I liked it and love it because of how many women are involved in the ownership group, right? It's one thing to bring National Women's Soccer League team to LA, but if it's not really led by women and run by women and women making decisions about how players are going to be treated, the culture of the organization, et cetera, then, we're just doing more of the same thing in a sense. So I was excited about it. Congratulations to everybody involved. Assuming they don't play the same day we play, I'll be there whenever the season starts. And I think it's a great thing. The sports culture in LA has evolved tremendously over the last several years. And I think as a city, we should be proud to have a team of women that can represent LA. It is one of the most diverse cities in the world. And young girls and women in LA and all around the world need to see women in powerful positions, owning businesses, owning sports teams, being excellent on the court, making decisions in the boardroom. I have two daughters. I want them to not only, if they want to be great athletes, cool. But if they also want to own a sports team, then, we need to support these type of teams to make sure they have a chance to be successful and do concrete action things that will make a difference. So whatever I can do to help, whether it's going to games, hopefully there are things that we can do in terms of cross promotion. We're no longer the only professional sports women's team in LA. And for a long time, we're the only sports women's team, professional team in California, period. So we're happy to have this kind of company. And, hopefully our fans will go to their games and their fans will come to our games.
Tell me, you had a very quick follow-up.
Yes, just on that note, so I'm assuming you'd be open for some type of collaboration or partnership if it came down to that?
Yeah, I mean, if they need me to get out there and show them how to kick a soccer ball around and do some head touches and things, count me in. In terms of cross promotions and collaborations, that's for Eli, Natalie, and Danita and everybody back at the office. And they just tell me where to show up. So that's probably as much as I could say there, but definitely open to it. I think it's important. Oftentimes, women get pitted against women in a sense, right? Competing for the same things, the same space. And as we work to create more space within the media landscape to cover women, to tell great stories, then we have to support what they're doing in order to have it make sense. And then when we put that energy into the world, into what they're doing, then it comes back to the Sparks, and it's win-win for everybody.
Last question over to Miriam Swanson, LA Daily News.
Hi, Derek. Hey, so I just wanted to check in and see how Christine has looked in the first bit here. I know it sounds like she's learning a lot from Candace.
Christine is what you call the prototypical basketball sponge. Like, she literally is nonstop calling coaches, calling teammates, She wants to watch film. She wants to come back and shoot at night. She wants to go over early and shoot. She wants to watch film before COVID testing, after COVID testing, after lunch, after practice. It's been a joy to work with her. You know, she's learning a lot. This is her third team in 1 year, basically. So, you know, try for a young player having 3 different ways of doing things, you know, going on in your brain. And that's a lot. And so she's trying to absorb as much as possible. That typically slows people down when they're overthinking. So what we're really trying to do as much as possible with Christine and all of our players, you know, that are new to our group especially, is to give them enough information to provide a foundation, but not take away their natural gifts and abilities and talents that already exist. And I think that's important for all basketball players, and possibly Christine more than anybody on our team, because of how gifted she is without you telling her to do anything. And if we can find ways to help her and help her fit into what we do, I think she can provide tremendous value for us.